our chat app. At the moment, we have some nice decorative links over here for rooms, and we have a place where theoretically the current room name and description goes, and where the current room and this thing goes. But there's really only one chat room right now, right? It's always the same room. So let's start heading in the direction of having actual multiple chat rooms or channels, whatever you want to call them. So to do that, we're probably going to need to store the current room in state, right? That makes sense? So what component should we store that in? If we're going to store the current room in state, which component should have that state? Main? Because which ones are going to need it? The sidebar is going to need it, right? It's going to need to know which one. And chat's going to need it too, because chat will have it in chat header and in message list. So main seems pretty reasonable to me. Let's do it. So in main, we want to keep track of the current room. Main at the moment does not have state, does it? But it is already a class at least, so we don't have to convert it from a stateless functional component. So let's just add some state up here. We could do it inside a constructor, but we don't necessarily have to. So state equals an object, and let's just store the current room. Going to be some sort of object, probably. For the moment, we could hard code this. We'll have a room called... Okay, a room will have a name, like S3 morning, and it'll have a description, ask questions, and share code. Never mind how it gets into state. Let's just hard code it for now and make sure we can do something with it if it is in fact there. And make it so that chat header, for example, is getting it out of there instead of just hard coding it. So in that case, how do I get this information from the state of main into chat header? We can put it in the sidebar, but we'll not worry about sidebar for right this second. Let's worry about getting it in the chat header. How do we, what's that? Pass it into chat as props, right? So chat header's inside chat, and to get data from one component to another, we have to use props. So yep, let's pass it as a prop to chat. I'll call the prop room, and what should that value be? How do I pass that in there? You should be tripping over each other trying to answer this question. No. No. Come on. You can do it. Where am I storing the current room right now? Okay, fine. Close. This.state.room, because in main, it's in state, right? It's not a prop yet. Thank you for answering, though. Think this.state.room. It's not a prop just yet. Now inside chat it will be. So let's go look inside chat. And first let's confirm this. So look in our React Dev Tools. Let's look in main. On state, it has room. In chat, it has room, but it's on props, right? So on main, where it lives, it's permanent home, it's on state. In chat, we pass it in as a prop. So let's open up chat. And we said it needs to make it into the header, right? So here's chat header. So I want to pass it in there. I have to do that as props. I can put this all in one line, I suppose. Yeah, I didn't on the other one. So chat header room equals what? What do I put in here? Someone else? Somebody raise your hand. Someone else raise your hand. Okay, go for it. Joe. This.props.room. Because inside chat, the same piece of data is on this.props. On main, it's this.state.room. In chat, it is this.props.room. Right? Because the data actually lives inside main. In chat, it's coming from the outside, so it's always going to be on props. If I look at chat header now, I see it. So let's look at chat header. Now, chat header is a stateless functional component. The whole component is a function, not a class. So how do I get to it from here? Where do I want to get to it? Right here where I have hash general. Instead, I want it to be hash whatever this thing is. So how do I do that? How do I get to a prop from inside a component that's a function, not a class? Okay, go for it. Have it as an argument. So in a stateless functional component, the props all come in as an argument. You can call it props, or you can break it up, destructure it, which we've been doing some. If I did it like this, then I would say props.room.name, or I could break it up like that, right? In which case, it's just room.name. You know, I don't know the answer to that, so I'm curious to try. I suspect, yeah, you need the parentheses if you're going to do destructuring in there. I suspected you did. Otherwise, you'll get a syntax error. And now it says S3 morning up here. And so instead of announcements in general chat, we should also say whatever the description is. Room.description. I think that's what I called it, description. There we go. S3 morning, ask questions and share code. Cool. So now it's getting that out of main state instead of just hard coding it. Similarly, up in chat.js, I could pass it down to message list. Room equals this.props.room. And then in message list, I have the name of the room here, general. Message list is also a stateless functional component. We already have one prop, messages. Let's add room. And then where general appears here in the H3, replace that with curly braces, room.name. And there we go, S3 morning. Store room in state and show it in chat. So now this is actual dynamic data.